Welcome back to the channel. This is Twins and Things. We are here for part 2 of Andrew Tate versus Piers Morgan. Last time they were here, they were talking about COVID. Mentioned a little bit about Israel, Andrew's time in jail. This is a very good conversation, and I'm glad you can all be a part of it with me. So let's not waste too much time and get right to it.
And people listen to you. I'll repeat this. Your ability to speak freely is directly correlated to your insignificance. If you're as big as I was, the most Googled man on the planet telling the truth, you will pay the price, Piers. And that is why I was locked in that cell. And I do not regret it, because I live true to God. I'm not going to sit here as a coward and not tell the truth to people for as long as I live until they put a bullet in my head.
Let me ask you about the lover boy method. So the suggestion is that you and your brother and others, let's talk about you, that you deploy the lover boy method, where you would make women fall in love with you. You would then persuade them to do webcam stuff, right?
TikTok.
Okay, but wait, let's call it webcam stuff, right?
No, let's not call it that. The indictment is about TikTok.
Okay, what would you make the women do? Or what would they do with you?
I don't make anybody do anything.
Okay.
In fact, let's talk about the lover boy method. So it's very interesting. Let's imagine the Matrix is pissed off with a said individual who's telling too much truth and everybody is listening to him, and they decide they're going to attack him with sexual assault claims. They say, he's making women do, well, we found conversations where he gave advice on how to go viral on TikTok. He's making women do TikTok, but he isn't being horrible to them. He's not hitting them. He's not being mean to them. So what can we do? Let's use the lover boy method. If I was abusive and mean, they wouldn't say lover boy method. You know what lover boy method means? Being nice. He was nice and polite and kind, and they really liked him as a person, and he told them how to do TikTok.
But that's not what the lover boy...
Of course it is.
Andrew, that's not what the lover boy method is.
Absolutely it is.
The lover boy method is where perpetrators woo victims with the prospect of a loving relationship until they can be forced into abusive situations or a form of slavery.
This is garbage.
That's actually what it means.
The lover boy method is being nice to people so that you work together, effectively what they're trying to say here. I was nice to girls who asked me for TikTok advice, and they sang us the lover boy method. I didn't beat them into doing TikTok. I didn't force them. I didn't threaten them. In fact, I was like, yeah, you're very pretty. You can be pretty famous.
Was there any element of coercion?
How can there be an element? What does that even mean? Let's be professionals here. What does that even mean?
What do you think coercion means?
I was coerced into this interview. You came along to me and said...
You weren't coerced into this interview.
Yes, I was.
Or don't tell me. The bullying
Piers.
MSM said, Andrew, you've got to do an interview.
No.
I'm going to fly all the way to Romania to do it.
You didn't do that. You used the lover boy method. You said, sir...
The lover boy method?
Yep. Andrew, this is going to be a very interesting interview. We had a good one last time. You're a nice guy. We have some interesting conversations.
I didn't say you were a nice guy.
I'm going to come along.
Wait a minute.
We're going to make some money from this interview.
Wait a minute.
Money will be made from both sides.
Wait a minute.
You lover boyed me and you stole the profit.
But just to be clear, I've had no conversation with you about this interview. And the conversations I've had with your intermediary were very professional. And I said, I would like to do an interview with you.
Were you nice?
I'm always nice.
Loverboy. You can't believe you used niceness to loverboy me, because this is a profitable enterprise and I was coerced here.
I make no pretense that I've come all the way from London to Romania to interview you because, yes, I want to do it on my show, and that will clearly benefit me and my show.
Am I a full-grown consenting adult who decided to do this show?
Yeah, but you're not being coerced into doing this.
Am I a full-grown consenting adult who decided to do this show?
Yes.
Okay, so I wasn't coerced, correct?
But what's that got to do with what I've asked you?
Because you were nice to me and you're saying that...
I wasn't nice to you. I didn't even talk to you.
Being nice is the loverboy method, and that adults have no personal responsibility. And
I wasn't
nice to someone, they become your slave.
I wasn't nice to you, and I didn't call you a nice guy.
I feel loverboy. I feel loverboy.
Do you?
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
You had a website, Hustlers University, offering courses teaching husbands and boyfriends how to get their partners into webcam.
Absolutely false. The Hustlers University, which you can go to now, actually, we've changed the domain, it's university.com, is a school which teaches modern wealth creation methods. We teach people how to make websites, we teach people e-com.
Why did you call it a PhD pimping hose degree?
No, you're talking about an old video which was made satirically.
Why did you call it that? Oh, that was satire.
Of course it was. 9 years ago, the internet was a very different place. And if you're going to sit here and say, oh, 9 years ago, you said stupid things on the internet, it's not a gotcha moment, because every single person has. So have you.
No, but you'd be very...
So have you, because you advocate for the vaccine, sir. So
yeah,
you
absolutely.
said stupid things on the internet. Yeah. Life, that's how things go. It's satirical. I also said I'm an astronaut. Do you believe I've been to the moon? Because I haven't, believe it or not. Hustlers University teaches children how to make websites, and it's...
There's only one reason I'm asking you. Only reason I'm asking you. You've repeatedly said in interviews since you were...
All right, so if Andrew went first in the interview, I see why Piers Morgan tried to steamroll Tristan now, because he getting hyped now. Nigga, he getting very hyped. But this is good. This is the energy we need. This is the energy that he should have, because sometimes Pierce is oblivious, but that's okay. That's his job, honestly. So we ain't mad at him.
Arrested, that you have never categorized yourself as a pimp. You don't think you're a pimp, right?
Well, what about all the rappers? Did you ask Ice Cube if he's a pimp and a murderer and a drug dealer? Jay-Z sold crack.
I'm not interviewing them. I'm asking you whether you have at any stage in the last 15 years been a pimp.
Of course I've not been a pimp. I've said I'm a pimp. I've said I'm an astronaut. I've said I'm a cowboy. I've said I'm the strongest man in the world. I've said I'm James Bond. Throw me in jail.
Are you just
put me in jail?
Okay.
I deserve it. 9 years ago I made a joke on the internet.
So here's my question. Are you a fantasist?
I'm not a fantasist.
Do you have a persona that's just not you?
Of course not. I am me.
Well, if you are you, why would you repeatedly call yourself a pimp and then now say you've never been a pimp?
Are you going to sit here and say that because I've once said, oh...
I'm curious whether if you're trying to say to me you didn't mean any of the things you said. So I'm asking myself, well, why should I believe anything you say now? In other words, is what you say actually what you mean? Is Andrew Tate real? Or do you have a complete persona that you've fueled for money that has nothing to do with the real you? I don't know. You tell me.
I exaggerated on the internet 9 years ago for comedic effect. I'd walk into a nightclub and there'd be girls at my table, like every other man who walks into a nightclub, and I'd say, pimpin'. Oh no, put me in jail. 93 days was not enough with the cockroaches. I should go back. This is a matrix attack, Piers. Every single person, every single man out there has done things worse than I've done. In fact, I will argue, if you put 99.9% of men through the level of scrutiny I've been through by multiple federal agencies, you will find a lot worse than him saying he was a pimp on the internet 9 years ago. You will find actual genuine crime. And I've done nothing. I live true to God. This is all garbage and it's not real.
Like I said to you, I don't know if you're guilty or not.
I do,
okay.
And I am not guilty.
No,
it's a matrix attack.
I want to be clear to you, I'm not preempting your guilt. I've come here with a completely open mind. You've been charged with serious offences, but I am not going to judge you because I'm not a judge and this is not a courtroom, right? But it's interesting to me that one of the biggest charges against you is that you're a misogynist. And you've always said, I'm not a misogynist. And then the last time I interviewed you, you said, well, I may have said some things that may have been misconstrued. But even in the last week, you've tweeted some stuff, which I'm not even sure if you're aware as you tweet this stuff, how it sounds.
Read it.
Okay, let's read. This is quite a long one.
Sure.
But I think it's important to read it to get a sense of how you view women.
Absolutely.
Any woman I date does not have a job. Okay, so the woman you're with doesn't have a job?
No.
Okay. Do you date other women?
Sometimes.
And your partner's fine with that?
Obviously.
Yeah? And you're fine with that?
Why wouldn't I be?
Well, you think it's fine to be dating other women when you have a mother
I
of
think
your
we're
kids?
consenting adults and everybody can make their own personal decisions.
Okay, fair enough. Why would I be working so hard, you say, to have hundreds of millions for my woman to waste her life in slaved pennies? No. I will give you a life you can never ever afford. Private jets, 5-star hotels, new cars, endless spending money and diamonds. You will be rich because you're praying for me every day and protecting my spirit. I work in the physical world, she works in the spirit realm. Women shouldn't have to work because being a good partner is a full-time job for a woman. She has to look good. All the beauty treatments are time intensive. Not about money, it takes a lot of time. She has to train every day and stay in fantastic shape. Shop to look amazing next to me. I know there are some men who do 100 times more than this on a daily basis, but women are not as organized as men, and achieving anything significant causes them huge amounts of stress. Yeah. They need to have huge sections of their day empty to waste, or they will have a mental breakdown. True. And do you want a woman who's stressed and angry after the commute, unshaven and exhausted? Or do you want a Barbie doll who's always smiling and saying thank you because she did her nails and brought you Prada that day? As a man, unless you're a loser, you're already filthy rich, right? You can get endless sex anyway. Girls are easy. So what can a girl give you? Happiness, vibes, always smiling. Take the edge off a stressful life. Can she always be happy if she's been working all day? No. Just to wake up at 11, gym till 1, one appointment and some shopping. Dressed beautiful by 7 p.m. for you to finish working and tell you how strong you are. No matter how pissed off you are, just to always be laughing and smiling and writing little notes about how you're perfect. And just to be playful and funny. She can't do that if she has a job. So your job is being my girlfriend and now you're a millionaire. Congratulations. Behave and aim for the promotion to wife. The reason I read all that.
Now the question is what Piers Morgan just read misogynistic? Does it display aspects of misogyny? This is one of those things where you have like great intentions, but you might overshoot, right? Because I'm not saying anything's wrong with what Andrew said in his tweet thread or whatever that was, but if you're taking everything that he said, and this isn't a butt moment to negate things, this is just giving the contrarian viewpoint. If you take everything that he said, someone who's looking to make it an issue could make that an issue, right? Personally, I have no problem with it. It's actually very funny to read. And I think most women would agree that would be a good trade-off, honestly. You don't have to work. He takes care of everything. You just got to gym, look good, be his motivation, be his peace, be his spirit, be his work in the spirit realm. So pray for him. Make sure everything is going right with him mentally, physically, and I'm guessing emotionally, all that other stuff. Yeah, no, I personally wouldn't say it's misogynistic. But if you're looking for an issue within it, you could, what's the word? You could make it misogynistic.
In detail was, I don't think you understand quite how that comes over, because I think that is the purest definition of misogyny I've probably ever read.
Well, I don't think you understand. One, especially when I'm talking about the fact that women can't handle what men can do, etc. One, it's slightly sarcastic. There's a sarcastic tone.
So do you mean any of this?
I mean all of it. Any woman I'm with, I will provide for because
so
I
no
want to
woman should
her.
work. They should spend all day beautifying themselves for you, right? And they might get promoted to wife.
This is
your job is being my girlfriend.
Correct.
There are hundreds of millions of women around the world who do a good day's work, who still manage to be a very good wife or partner.
Agreed,
right?
Completely. But it's my
so
life.
why would you encourage a whole generation of young men? I mean, I've got to be honest, since our last two interviews, before you were arrested, I would say every single day I have young men, teenage boys, maybe early 20s, coming up to me asking about you. It's gone on every day since I interviewed you. I'm very aware of your reach. I'm very aware of your influence. And whenever I've been asked about you, they say, what do you think of him? I said, I don't really know. I find myself agreeing with 60 to 70% of the things you say. And I do, because I think a lot of the stuff you say about empowering young men to be confident, to work out, to take care of themselves.
To have enough money to not force their woman to work.
Right, but that's the bit. That's the bit where when you stray into that kind of language, particularly in the detail where you reveal what you're really thinking, the kind of pathetic, soulless life you want for these women. Where does it allow for being a mother, for example?
Absolutely.
How does a mother of your children manage to find time for being a mother in this routine of love and devotion to you?
How does having a job give her time to be a mother? This gives her all the time in the world to be a mother. One, it's slightly sarcastic, firstly.
What do you mean?
Well, you can tell by the tone.
Do you mean you don't mean it?
No, I mean it.
Well,
but it's slightly sarcastic.
Well, sarcasm means you don't mean it.
No, I mean it. But it's slightly sarcastic.
You either mean it or you don't. It's either sarcastic or it's not.
I mean every single word.
But this is the conundrum with you, Andrew. This is the conundrum with you.
So Andrew might be using the wrong word. I don't think sarcasm is the word he's looking for. Is it slightly satirical, comedic? I don't know if sarcastic is the right word. Because Pierce is right on that part. If you're being sarcastic, you don't necessarily mean it. And you can't have both. So yeah, as you need to pick a different word. But to more to the point of what he was talking about just now, Pierce is saying that wouldn't give her enough time to be a mother. I'm not sure if, does Pierce think within that thread, the woman's whole job is to be on her knees praying the entire time he's at work or something? That would be very weird. In fact, that would be more misogynistic than anything. The fact that she would be doing this the whole time while he's out there working. I'm hoping that's not what he thinks. That's probably what he thinks, though. In no situation or scenario would she have more time to be a mother when she's at work rather than the situation that Andrew has just presented for us. So, and this is what I'm talking about. Pierce, he might be intentionally dense. Like, he might be doing this shit on purpose because he's an interviewer and he has to get the most content out of you. So,
right?
It's not a conundrum. If you'd let me explain, it's not a conundrum at all.
You tweet,
and also,
you
would be very
tweet this.
interesting. I tweeted this out. I get thousands of women
Yeah.
begging me, inboxing me, saying, finally a man who understands he needs to provide for a woman so she can be her best self.
Right.
This is exactly the kind of life that will allow women to become
there are
mother.
definitely women that will absolutely love to be
So why don't you
treated like
are they
this.
misogynists?
No, but what I think they're people who just basically, it's the old sugar daddy thing, right? They want to have a rich guy who's going to pamper them and take care of them. They don't have to do a day's work. They just have to make
Being
themselves
a good partner
look
is
good
a
for
day's
you.
work.
Well, so you say.
Yeah.
But it also, the language that you use here seriously diminishes women who do work. You make them out to be, well, you're not doing your job as a partner or wife. You should be doing your job, which is just to devote yourself to his pleasure and making him happy.
Well, it's actually interesting you say that, because I'll put a lot of the fault of this on men. Let's if you want to gender the argument, let's do that. I think that a lot of the reason why women can't live this life, if they so choose, if you're a woman who decides to work, then go to work. I don't care. But if you're a woman who decides she wants to retire, it's because she can't find a man who could provide for her at this level. Do you think when a woman marries a billionaire that she wants to go get a job in Starbucks? Because in my experience, when they marry extremely successful men, they don't want a job. I'm sure Ronaldo's wife isn't begging to go work in IKEA.
Actually,
No,
Ronaldo's wife works very hard.
she works for herself, which is different.
And her family.
Of course,
Yeah.
which is different.
She's a hard-working woman, actually.
Absolutely, because being a fantastic partner and having a bunch of children is a bunch of hard work. And she also finds the energy to have businesses on the side. Fantastic.
Right. But you
so
don't
what we're
want,
saying here,
yeah, but you don't want women to have business.
no, I'm saying if you're with a man of my stature, you don't have to work. Now, if I met a perfect woman and we were together and we were happy.
When you say a man of your stature, with respect, right now you have no income, no possessions,
Correct. I'm
and you're
completely
facing
flat broke.
serious criminal charges. I mean, I'm not quite sure what statue you think you're currently selling, but it ain't great.
Okay, well then it's a shame all those women inboxed me after I put that tweet out saying,
I've got no-
we agree with you. I think you should interview
I
all
met
of
a
them for
woman
their
yesterday who, when I
misogynistic
said I
views.
was coming to interview, was immediately like, "Oh, can you put a good word in for me?"
Of course.
Sure, you have a definite appeal to a certain type of woman. There's no question.
I think providing for a woman
if I was
financially is a man's responsibility. If that means I'm a misogynist, then I'm a misogynist.
no,
I think
so you
that-
accept you are a misogynist.
No, I think a man should provide for a woman financially, completely and utterly. If she wants to work, if my partner were to say to me right now, I really feel like getting a job, it would make me happy, then I'll say work. But she doesn't have to. Her job is looking after the children, looking after me, and being as happy as possible. If you think I'm a bad person for saying, if you actually read that, read the subtext and context.
I read it
I'm
all
saying,
out.
Okay, good. Then you'll understand what I'm saying.
You know I did. You heard it.
Absolutely. So what I am saying is, I am a man, my life is stressful, my life is pain. I go to jail, I suffer, I have to deal with making money, I have constant endless headache. I do all of that so I can give you everything, but then I get to have you. Your job is to be happy. I want you to smile. I want you to look your best and feel your best all of the time. If I am a misogynist for saying that I go through so much pain so that we can be financially secure, so I hope the woman I care about does not have to work a job. If that makes me a bad person, then so be it. Because all I'm saying is I want to take care of her in every single realm. I take care of her physical safety. I take care of her financial security. That is my job as a man. And if more men acted like me, you will see that the world would be a happier and better place. The women who say, I really want to work, I want a career, that's their prerogative and their decision. They're allowed to do that. But also, often the reason they do that is because they can't find a man they trust to take care of them.
No.
I've had this from women in their own
Andrew,
mouth. If I found a man who was financially secure and as smart as you, I wouldn't be doing this garbage job either. Why was I psyoped into working to pay taxes when I should be at home having children with a man I adore?
Andrew,
it's a psyop.
Andrew, there are so many women that will listen to that and be laughing and mocking you.
Will there?
Say, don't be so ridiculous. I have a job that I love. Maybe they're being paid even more than their man, right? The real world isn't the one that you categorize.
The real world is varied and nuanced, but I am talking about my life experience.
There's
and
a
in
very-
my experience, any woman I love does not have to work unless she decides to.
Fine, you're the boss, you're in charge, her job is to make you happy, her job is to make herself look good, her job is to work out for your benefit, blah, 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 blah. It is actually just misogyny.
Do you think a woman looking
And it's
good,
also-
do you think a woman looking good and working out has no benefit at all to her?
Of course it does.
Okay, so it's not for my benefit, then is it?
Don't you see? But when you talk about
young,
no, I don't. When you talk about young men and you tell them to work out and take care of themselves, I cheer you on, right? I want that. I've got 3 sons. I want them to feel that.
Don't you want them to become very rich and successful and have a woman who relies on them and have a beautiful family?
No, but I don't want a woman who's subservient to them.
Why is subservience? Why is a
Literally,
woman
the tone of the tweet I read is subservience. You did another tweet this week. Men love by telling you what to do and not allowing you to make stupid decisions. We save you from the female inclination to make stupid choices. If a man isn't giving you instructions, he doesn't love you. If you won't listen to a man's instructions, you don't love him. The whole language is so ridiculous.
Let me change the language then.
Well, you tweeted this to 8.2 million people.
Correct. So let me say this. A father loves. Let's say instead of a man loves, say a father loves. A father loves disciplinarian. That's how a father will love you. A mother will say, oh, I hope you're happy, hope you're doing okay. But a father will come along and say, no, don't do this. You must do it that way. That's incorrect. It has to be this way. A father will discipline you because a father feels he knows best for you. It's the masculine essence of love. When a man loves, he shows that he cares via degree.
There is a massive difference between a relationship between a father and a child and between a man and a woman in a relationship.
Completely.
And I'm not sure you quite get that.
No, there is a difference. But I would argue, Piers, I would argue in the happiest relationships, it's a traditionally masculine role in which the man plays and provides. The female is traditionally feminine. The man is the head of the house, not in an abusive way, doesn't beat her up. I'm talking about the man being the head of the household, like I would like to believe you're the head of your household. And he comes along and says what happens and what doesn't happen because he's the man of the house.
No, that's not. That's actually not how most households operate now.
Well, then it sounds like we understand why the entire world's a mess. Because only 10 years ago, that's exactly how the households operated. There was a man of the house, and now we have no longer any clear defined roles. There's no more longer a man of the house. You want to talk about knife crime, kids doing drugs, the crime rate, all of these problems. You want to talk about all of the societal ills we face. Perhaps it's because we don't have any men in the house anymore. Perhaps we need to bring the man of the house back. And the man of the house will come along and be a disciplinarian, and he will make the set rules and the creeds of that house. He will say, within this household, we don't take drugs. That stands for the woman I am with, the children who we have birthed. Nobody takes drugs in this household because this is my house and I'm the man of the house. So it sounds to me like we need to bring it back, sir.
Yeah, listen, it's all good macho stuff, okay? And I know lots of young boys who listen to this and go, wow, that's how I should be. Then I read the detail of your tweets. And again, come back to this. We save women from their female inclination to make stupid choices.
Females are emotional.
If a man isn't giving you instructions...
Now, females are emotional.
Hang on.
Piers,
he doesn't love you.
Emotional.
All this stuff is designed to, exactly as you've just articulated, is designed to make young men feel that the only way they can be successful in life is to effectively have their women under control, give them instructions that they have to obey.
Don't buy women Prada, you'll end up in jail.
You can buy them Prada, but let me finish my point. My point is that it seems to me, from reading your tweets, even now, that you have a blind spot when it comes to how they sound. It may be that the legal problems that you're in, which might be extremely serious, and we'll see when the trial happens, but it may be that in your head, nothing you've done is remotely inappropriate, because actually in your tweets you can see there's an element there of wanting coercion and control. You want to control women. You want them to be effectively your servants, slaves, for want of a better phrase.
Slaves who get Prada and get to work out in the gym and get to look good.
But you understand?
But
you understand the point I'm making?
No, I don't.
Which is that in your head, the line is blurred so much now with this macho rhetoric that you've actually lost track of how this sounds.
Here's all of the things
Even when I read that stuff to you, I could see you looking at me, and you said, your answer is, I was being sarcastic. No. And I said, well, where? And then you go, well, no, I meant it. Well, it can't be both.
I meant it, and I said,
you either mean it, or it's, well, no, because sarcasm means you don't mean it.
Piers, all the things you've just described.
Do you accept that?
No,
You're a smart guy. You know what sarcasm means,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. I said it has a sarcastic tone for comedic effect. All the things I'm saying and the things I've said are basically the way the entire world thought only 10 years ago. You may buy into the PSYOP, you may buy into the new thing.
I don't buy into any PSYOPs.
We just talked about the vaccine, sir.
Yeah, the vaccines weren't PSYOPs.
Of course not. No. So I believe that there should be a man of the house.
You had a polio vaccine, right?
Correct.
Why?
Because I didn't get polio. I wouldn't have a COVID vaccine because I'd still get COVID. Plus probably myocarditis and have a heart attack. So we believe there was a man of the house 10 years ago.
Do you think statistically more people got myocarditis by having the vaccine or not having it?
I think statistically we need to bring
it back. You don't know, do you?
Why would I know? Why would I look at the statistics
and studies
that come from the matrix itself?
So the matrix, so every fact you don't like because it doesn't suit your agenda, you just dismiss as matrix bullshit.
No, I'll give you a very simple way I view the world. COVID can't hurt me, so why would I take their injection?
You don't have to.
Point two.
You don't have to
They
take
tried
it.
to make us, including you.
Yeah.
You told people
Yes.
they
You know
should
why?
have the vaccine.
You know why?
And if they don't have it, they shouldn't leave their house.
You know why? Because at the time, the scientists, and by the way, scientists is ever evolving. At the time I said that, the scientists said if you had the vaccine, it would prevent you transmitting the virus.
The Matrix
that turned out to be wrong, and they issued updated advice saying further studies said that actually you could transmit it. And at that point, you know what I did, which you never do? I held my hands up and went, I was wrong because the advice changed, and now I would not say the same thing. That is called actually evolving opinions when facts change. That's actually how a civilized democracy works.
Oh, is it? We live in a civilized democracy, do we, sir? I actually would argue that point with you for a very long time. I don't think we live in a civilized democracy. Another point I want to make here, if I had cancer or if I was at threat of a genuine disease which could actually harm me, would the NHS text me 10 times a day trying to get me treatment, or would I be sitting there waiting for 8 months to even get an appointment? They wouldn't care about me and they'd let me die. So the fact that they will endlessly text me and try and beg me to get this poison should have been an alarm bell for anybody with a brain.
Actually, I tell you what the NHS sent me. I'm a 58-year-old man. In the last few months, they've sent me one about a flu jab, which I'm going to have, because I think it stops you getting flu, and flu's nasty. A COVID booster, which I won't have. I think I've had enough of those. I'm fine with that, thanks. They sent me one about having a check for bowel cancer, which I've done and came back negative, and so on and so on. The NHS texting system is for our benefit. You don't have to do it. No one's holding a gun to your head. The Matrix isn't saying, if you don't have this, Andrew Tate, we're gonna do something.
Well, I'll say this. They made it pretty damn hard to operate without the vaccine. Maybe no one was holding a gun to your head, but I know a lot of places were not letting you work unless you were vaccinated. I know you couldn't travel unless you were vaccinated. You couldn't go to certain places unless you were vaccinated. And you couldn't really do a lot of things unless you were vaccinated. That is like metaphorically holding a gun to your head and saying, get this or you can't live life, basically.
Do you have any idea
you've not been treated in Romania by their system because of anything to do with COVID vaccines. And your attempt to try and persuade people that that's the case is ridiculous. And you know it's ridiculous.
Do you have any idea how difficult it was to remain unvaccinated, Piers? Let me tell you from somebody who was unvaccinated and traveled the world. Do you have any idea how difficult that was actually to do?
Yes, because countries have border controls.
Oh, because they tried to force everybody. So to sit and say they weren't trying to force, you know what they did? They said, come get the COVID vaccine. It's good for you. It's going to help. They tried to coerce you by being nice. They tried to lover boy everybody. They tried to use the lover boy method to force people to get the COVID vaccine. It just came to, we need to put all these people in jail.
Andrew,
they were being nice to people, trying to help them. Unbelievable.
Nobody forced you to have it. Did you have the vaccine?
Absolutely and utterly not, sir. My principles are not for sale. I would have stayed in my house to the end of human time and sat there as a pureblood, the last one, the last pureblood on the planet before I inject myself with poison.
You're not making an MGM trailer.
Yes, I am, because it's a matter of principle. I am not a farm animal. My blood is mine. It does not belong to the government, and I decide what is in it.
Right. All right, so you have a polio vaccine, but not a COVID one. So your brilliant brain has determined that you know more about the medicinal and scientific benefits of individual vaccines. And the polio one, you decided with your brilliant brain, we'll have that. But even though a lot of people, by the way, have had side effects to polio vaccines, did you know that?
Yes, correct.
Is that the Matrix doing that?
No, I didn't say the Matrix gave them the side effect. I've just told you all the reasons I didn't get the vaccine. You've already described it at length.
But you work out with your brilliant mind which vaccines to have.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. You realize that.
You can join my email list on CobraTape.com. You can sign up for free, and I'll tell you which vaccines you should have.
I wouldn't come to you for vaccine advice.
Why,
Andrew? Because you have zero experience.
I didn't get the COVID one.
Advice.
I obviously did pretty good. I avoided the poison shot while everyone else got it, so I'm actually pretty proud with my track record.
What happens if you're found guilty of the things you're charged with?
Well, then I'm going to have to go to jail, I assume.
What's the maximum sentence you could get?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
I actually genuinely don't.
You've never asked your lawyers?
It can be between 3 to 8 years, I think.
So you do know?
I don't know the maximum.
But if you were to serve 8 years, having served 3 months and know how bad that was, could you cope with that in a Romanian jail?
Interesting question. Could I cope with it? Yes. Would I be the same afterwards? I'm not sure.
What do you think even the 3 months did to you as a man?
Well, it was a fantastic test from God to make sure I am the man I say I am. because I think there's a lot of people who speak about masculine excellence who are not the men they say they are. When trouble appears, you often learn that they are nothing but postures. I had nightmares for a very long time. I couldn't sleep. I struggled with certain things. I would check my bed sheets every single night for cockroaches religiously. I had a problem with that. But I never turned to therapy. I never turned to drugs. I understood that all of these things are from God and they're given to me so that I can become a stronger version of myself. And I welcomed them all and I embraced them all. And now that I'm a better, not completely, but almost better, part of me actually misses my nightmares, Piers. Part of me misses training all night. I didn't sleep for weeks, months.
You said you didn't have nightmares?
No, I had nightmares. I said I didn't have nightmares in jail. When I left, I did. And I kind of miss it because I had so much time in the day to get things done. And now I'm sleeping a full 6 hours. I feel a little bit lazy. So perhaps I need another test from God. And if God decides, Allah is the best of planners, if he decides I need 8 years in jail, then I will embrace those 8 years in jail and do my absolute best to come out as the most formidable version of myself.
Have you felt suicidal at all in the last year?
I don't believe in suicide. It's haram.
I know, you said that before, but did you feel like you may want to end it all?
I would never kill myself under any circumstances. So the day they put that on the news, when they finally take me out, you can know it's a lie. It's haram. I would never kill myself. Lock me in that cell for the rest of my life. I would never kill myself.
While you were under house arrest, you tweeted this: avoid women who go to festivals. They're either on some loser's table who's feeding them cocaine or in a crowd of sweaty peasants because they're a sweaty peasant. Endless Instagram stories screaming and having fun to prove to the world they're worthless. Hard pass, festy hoes.
Correct. I tweeted that, yes.
Again, why would you categorise all women who go to festivals in such an unpleasant way?
I actually categorized all men who went to festivals also. Did you read that tweet? Why are you gendering the argument? I think all people who go to festivals are stupid. It is peasantry. I've never been to a festival in my life. I'm not going to stand there and scream and jump up and down for some other human like he's God. I think the whole thing is embarrassing, all of it from head to toe. It's all sweaty peasantry and it's all just drug-fueled insanity. So why are you gendering the argument when I insult the women who go to festivals and also the men who go to festivals, because all of it is peasantry head to toe and I do not regret it. All festivals are peasantry. Anybody who goes, I do not associate with. I've never been to one in my life. I never will.
So if you've never been to one, how do you know what they're like?
I can see enough. I've seen the sweaty bodies bumping into each other,
been to
high
one.
on ketamine, pretending that the song they heard on the radio at home is now more fantastic because they're listening to it from a loudspeaker.
I get it, but just
it's embarrassing.
But to be clear, you've never been to one.
Correct.
Okay.
My infinite brain that understands vaccines perfectly also understands.
We have established your brain is unique.
Correct.
You tweeted a picture of Amanda Holden, very good friend of mine. It's a very harmless picture. She's in a bikini on holiday under a rain shower, looking extraordinarily beautiful.
In a sexual pose.
And you tweeted, you are a wife and a mother and you're far past a teenager. There's no need for this post.
Agreed.
Again, it's just misogynist to say that.
It's not misogynistic.
Why can't a woman of her age, she's just turned 50, why can't a woman of that age actually show off her beautiful body in a nice bikini like that? What's wrong with that?
You can call me crazy. You can call me misogynistic, but I think once you reach the ripe age of 50, any woman should not be interested in thirst trapping on Instagram. I think she has bigger responsibilities. I'm sure she's a very intelligent lady and she's done amazing things. She's famous. She's obviously very capable. And I think she could do things more interesting than standing around trying to thirst trap on Instagram like she's 18.
Because
I think she's above it. I wasn't insulting her. I was reminding her that she's actually such a fantastic person. She's done such amazing things in her life and she's so achieved that she's actually above thirst trapping. I was reminding her of her worth because as a feminist, we're all feminists here, right? We all believe in women empowerment. I'm reminding her of her worth.
Are you a feminist?
Sure.
Well, you're not though, are you?
I believe in feminine empowerment, and I think feminine empowerment is in... Yes, I do. And feminine empowerment is in modesty. Modesty is empowering for females.
You only believe in...
Taking your clothes off for men on Instagram is not empowering. It's empowering when you say, no man but my husband can see my body. That is female empowerment. And I was reminding her of that. I was reminding her of her ripe age and her intellect. And there is no need for that.
How old are you now?
I am 36.
36 years old.
Correct.
At what point will your antics, you know, chugging your cigars in your ripped body, in your compound with your security and your Bugattis, at what age does that become a thirst trap?
I don't know if that ever stops being a thirst trap. Because
so it's fine for you. Once again, one rule for the man another rule for the woman.
Well, it's interesting because I've never heard this argument before, but I'm extremely intelligent. And I've already deciphered how this is going to go from head to toe. It's called, I guess we can look at peacocks, right? The male peacock, he shows, look who I am. Look what I can do. Look at my achievement. Look at my beautiful feathers. And I guess you could call it peacocking to a degree. I'm showing the world that I'm extremely physically capable. Yes, that's correct. I'm extremely financially successful.
But you stripping off for Instagram is fine.
It's not stripping off for Instagram. I'm boxing. When you box, you have no top on.
You do it all the time with your cigar and you're showing off your rip. That's fine for you. But if Amanda Holden dares do it, that is apparently thirst trapping.
I think me boxing with no shirt on is different than a 50-year-old woman posting.
You don't just box. I've seen you doing ones where you wander around all moody with your cigar and you're topless and stuff. So fine for you.
Are you a fan, Piers?
No, I just think it's thirst trap.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't do that.
Perhaps it's successful. Maybe you should start. Perhaps it's successful.
Oh my God, yo. You can't make this up. Are you a fan, Piers? Hey, yo, Andrew is hilarious, yo. I can't, yo.
Because I do have a lot of female fans out there in the world, and they pretend I'm a misogynist, but it turns out that 85% of women on the planet seem to agree with me. Every single woman I've ever met in real life agrees with me. I have no female hate at all. I've never had negative interaction with women ever.
Yes, you have.
With who?
Well, what about the BBC journalist that came to your compound?
Lucy.
Yes.
I've never had a negative interaction with a female
I
ever.
don't think she was a fan.
I think she was.
I would categorise that as a negative interaction.
Well, she seemed to follow me around for a long time. I think she was a little bit
There are
obsessed.
lots of women, Andrew. There are lots of women I know personally. There are lots of women who find you incredibly offensive.
I don't think so.
Right? It's their right to. It's your right to.
Of course.
It's your right to not care.
Yep.
But the idea that somehow you're this beloved person for the world's females, I think is not true. You are for a certain type of woman who likes to be treated in the way that you like to treat women.
Well, let's counter that argument, right? Because the world, as I said at the beginning, is nuanced. Am I beloved by all females? No. But when I'm sat here with someone as prestiged as you who says you're a misogynist and you hate women and women hate you.
I think you talk in a way that is misogynistic, yeah.
Okay, well then you make it sound like all women hate me, and that's also not the case. Of course, it's a nuanced argument.
I didn't say all women hate it.
Some women agree with me, some women don't agree with me. When I said that post about Amanda Holden, a lot of women said, Andrew, that's actually completely correct. She's extremely famous, and there's no need for her to be posting pictures like this at her ripe age. I was actually empowering her. I believe that female empowerment is in modesty.
But you don't actually believe in feminism.
I believe in the idea of...
You believe in masculinity controlling women.
No.
They have to take instructions from you. They have to do what you tell them. And that is actually what love and relationships are about.
No, I believe that men and women have different roles. I believe that we were created differently by God because we are the perfect team. I believe that a man who's in his masculine frame is best suited by a woman who's in her feminine frame. I believe when we work together, we can achieve amazing things, whether it's raising children or preserving society. And I believe a man has certain jobs and a woman has certain jobs. You don't understand this about the things I say. When I said there that women make bad decisions in the tweet you referenced earlier, the point I was making is that women are more emotional than men. That is their superpower. That is fantastic. That is a great thing. I love female emotionality. In the tweet before you tried to use against me, I was talking about how I love a woman to be happy all the time, smiling all the time while I'm stressed. I love female emotionality. The reason women are better with children, women are better with children is because they're emotional. That is their superpower. That's
not what your tweet said.
In a position...
You're not even remembering what you wrote.
Of course it is. I said women are more emotional than men is exactly what I said. I'm saying that is a fantastic thing, but there is no light without dark. So in certain situations, the emotionality is positive. In certain situations, the emotionality is negative. We can also argue the same for men, because what happens with me is everyone tries to gender my arguments. We can actually argue the same with men. Stoicism. Male stoicism is positive in certain scenarios. It can be negative in others. We can come across as unempathetic or not care because we're stoic.
I mean,
but in certain situations, it benefits
I know
us.
people who've told me that their kids who are in their late teens, they're at schools where the name Andrew Tate is banned. Nobody's allowed to mention your name because the teachers think that your brand of masculinity is so toxic, they are seeing an immediate effect on the way that young men behave, and not in a good way.
Is that what the teachers think, is it?
Yeah.
Well, I am actually genuinely concerned by the fact that I've been banned from schools when I do nothing but preach masculinity.
Once again, if your child... I'll say this once again. If Andrew Tate, if you're a father and Andrew Tate has a bigger impact on your son than you do, that is your fault and your problem. And you need to do better in imparting your information into your son and not having him download all Andrew's information. Yeah, that's all I want to say.
strength and excellence. But then if you actually understand how the society is going and how the world works and all the insanity they're trying to push on all of us, I can understand why they banned me, because I speak the truth. If I was wearing a wig, Piers, and lipstick, and telling young boys to remove their genitals, would I have been banned from schools? No. They would have said, no, you can say his name, no problem. No matter how big I got, if I had a wig on and lipstick and I had been castrated medically, I would be allowed to talk to the young boys. But as soon as I say you're supposed to grow up and get big and strong, and if your wife doesn't want a job, you need to pay for her, it's your job as a man, you better find some money, then I'm the public enemy number one. Garbage.
On that last point, you don't say if a woman doesn't want to work, a man has to take care of it. You say a woman shouldn't work.
I say my woman won't work.
Right.
I'm talking about my personal experience. I said any girlfriend of mine, because I'm in an extremely fortunate financial position. I was before Romania took everything, of course. I have hundreds of millions of dollars. So because I am in my position, I would not want my woman to work. I think there's more important things she can do.
If you have hundreds of millions of dollars, where you said you had a worth of 17 million.
No, I said they took 17 million years.
So where's the rest?
They must have taken it. I think they have it. Or maybe I lost it. I think I lost it somewhere.
You've never had hundreds of millions of dollars.
Of course not.
You haven't, have you?
Of course not.
You said they took all your assets.
Exactly.
Well, did they or didn't they?
Of course, they took everything.
I mean, they'll be watching this. Are they to assume that there are hundreds of millions more dollars they haven't got yet?
No, they're watching this. That's right. They take absolutely everything. You have it all.
Right. But again, is that all just the smoke and mirrors? Is that all just the top G stuff that you play up to, which has no bearing on reality?
I was the most Googled man on the planet. I was the most relevant man amongst 18 to 35-year-old males, which are the highest earning and spending people on the planet. Do you really think that I can't pay my bills, Piers?
Right now, yeah. Okay. Someone's paying them for you.
Correct, you're right. Someone's paying them for me, you're right. My girl's got a job. She works at Starbucks. Exclusive, Andrew Tate's girl, Top G's girl works in Starbucks to pay the rent. I've been exposed.
See, again, I don't know what to believe when you say stuff like that.
Well, I'm telling you, my friend, that the Romanian state...
I think you deployed deliberate smoke and mirrors because you think it plays up to the brand.
The Romanian state have taken all of my money and I'm just, getting by. That's what's happened.
Do you worry about your impact on young men?
I think that...
Because, like I said, I'll be completely honest. I think a lot of what you say, they should be hearing.
Yep.
And I've tangible proof every day when I walk around that they are listening to everything you say.
Yep.
But there is other stuff you say where I don't want my sons, especially in that impressionable late teenage, to be listening to that.
Correct. And that's a very...
And I don't want my daughter to grow up and think that actually her only success in life will come if she's at home as some kind of servant to her man.
Well, that won't be her only success, but that's a very professional question, and I'll give a very professional answer. I have a massive responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility, and I understand that young men do listen to everything I say. I do think I say good things, but you also made a very pertinent point there. You talked about the impressionable age of a teenager, and it's very easy for a teenager with their hormones and their lack of life experience to take the things I say and weaponize them and use them in the incorrect context. However, that is not my fault. You could argue that 16 and 17-year-olds can look at anything on the internet and misunderstand it. You could argue that all of this transgender garbage and all of these rappers talking about killing each other and all these drill artists talking about stabbing their enemies could be misunderstood by a 16-year-old.
I agree.
So that's not my fault. However,
on that I totally agree.
Okay, so I have a massive responsibility.
And you are held to a different account, actually, to a lot of those rappers.
Absolutely.
Right? There's no question. I mean, the far swing is when John Legend rewrote the lyrics to Baby It's Cold Outside because apparently encouraged sexual assault, but wouldn't say a negative word about any of the disgustingly misogynist and actually very violent lyrics of his rap friends.
Absolutely.
That to me is total hypocrisy.
And it is hypocritical. However, unlike all of these other people, I have taken into account my massive power and my massive responsibility, and I try to make sure that I use my words as carefully as possible so that they cannot be misconstrued or misunderstood. Can I make sure that no teenager on the planet who listens to me ever misunderstands me ever? No, I can't do that, but I am doing my very best. What do I actually talk about? What do I actually say? What I do is I come along, and let me give you the broad overview of my message. You're a man, so your life sucks. It's always going to suck, and it's going to be pain. You're going to do nothing but suffer. You're going to suffer as a nobody. You're going to suffer the pain it takes to become
Actually,
great.
most men don't have that.
But you're going to suffer as a nobody, because trust me, nobody suffer. Or you're going to suffer the pain it takes to become great. Life is not supposed to be a happy picnic. You're supposed to get up, work hard, dedicate yourself, get strong, get rich, go through whatever it takes to become somebody of significance. That's my overall message, I believe it's a positive.
You haven't got to get rich to be happy.
No.
In fact, most of the super rich people I know in life are incredibly unhappy.
Really?
So you're setting a kind of false dream.
Well, I don't.
A lot of rich people are miserable.
Have you ever seen a rich person give
And a
their
lot of
money
people
away?
who have very little money can be very happy.
Have you ever seen a rich person give their money away?
Yes, of course.
Okay, do you give all your money away? Will that make you happier, Piers?
I don't.
Do you want the Romanian state to take it all? I didn't smile that day. And let me tell you that the reason I tell about men to become financially successful is for two reasons. One, because you have a job as a man to protect and provide, and you can do neither of those things if you are broke. That's the first reason. And the second reason I actually preach to young men to become as financially successful as possible is a greater, broader reason. And I believe we've entered a very interesting stage in humanity where the matrix is finally cracked. 3 or 4 years ago, there were certain narratives you could not talk against. But with Elon Musk owning X, and now we have Rumble, we have a lot more information on the internet, people are starting to tell the truth about many different subjects. There's a whole bunch of them we can name. And I like the idea of people who are free thinking with a free mind, who are not matrix controlled,
yeah, but hang on.
making as much money as possible because it takes money to win wars, and I want these people to be financially successful.
Fine.
That's why I tell all of my fans who believe in me to become as rich as possible because they understand that everything the government does is lie to them.
Fine.
And we need finance.
You use the word truth there. I don't think it's necessarily that people want to promote truth. They want to promote their opinions. Often people's opinions on facts can be very different. People can take the same set of facts to different opinions. Doesn't mean it's the truth, right?
Well, that's true. But
I don't believe in this my truth crap, right?
Neither do I. But
there are facts which have to be accepted. Then you can have an opinion about them. You and I can disagree about all sorts of opinions, but actually not facts.
Okay, but I can argue this point where the matrix comes out with a fact and all the opinions countering that fact are censored and they are destroyed, then that fact becomes de facto truth because it's the only version of reality which exists to be ingested by the mind. So you still need varying opinions on all public.
Do you think that what you, let's put it this way.
Sure.
You would have relationships with women and encourage them to take part in webcam sexual stuff?
No.
Well, actually, yes.
Why are we going back to this?
Because there's one question I want to ask you about it, right? And both sides made a lot of money, right?
Okay.
And in most cases, because they haven't complained in most cases, you would assume it was a mutually beneficial transactional relationship, right? I can assume that because thousands of women have been through this and most of them haven't come forward and complained about the way they were treated. So it was transactional. But was it moral? Do you think what you've been making money from, park the illegality aspect to one side, do you feel it was moral?
10 years ago, I helped women promote their profiles on the internet. Correct. 10 years ago. Firstly, I have not been involved with it for 7 years. It's not how I make money. I haven't touched it for a very long time. 7 years is a long time.
But you made a lot of money from it.
I made some money from it a long time ago.
How much?
Some money. I can't even remember.
Millions? Millions?
Perhaps.
Millions. You made millions of pounds.
A long time ago.
Well, hang on. It's important. You made millions of pounds from sexual webcam activity where you and the woman doing the webcams would make money. You accept that?
No. What I did is...
Well, that is how you made money.
No. A long time ago, and I talked about this at length on many different podcasts,
Yeah.
and I don't hide it. I said a long time ago, 10 years ago, I helped women with the tax side and the technical side and the promotion of their profiles.
They work for you.
The promotion of their profiles on certain websites. And I said about this, and I said I haven't been involved with it for 7 years. The only reason this is even coming up again is because I'm monumentally famous, because nobody cares. We're in
Well, no, it's not.
Piers,
It's
we're
not.
in Bucharest, Romania. Do you understand that there is a video chat studio with girls talking to men online right there, outside that window?
I'm sure.
In fact, there's about 10 or 15,000 women in this city who do that job now. And the fact that I had I dipped my toe in it 10 years ago isn't even significant.
I'm only asking if you think it's moral.
Do I think it's moral?
Because you speak in such a morally self-righteous way now. Do you think that that was moral?
Well, I wasn't religious back then, but let me sit and analyze.
Because you're now you converted to Islam.
Yeah, correct.
You're a Muslim.
Correct.
They have a code of behaviour. Do you think that that fell short of that?
I have to answer as a professional, and as a professional, I would say, judging by my current code, no, I do not think that women being naked on the internet is moral. However, there is.
So you made money immorally. You can admit that.
It's nuanced like all things, Piers. At the time I was atheistic. I know that some of my girls talked men away from suicide. A lot of men are ridiculously lonely. I would also say a lot of the lessons I know about men and how they think and how lonely and sad they can be and how difficult life is as a man actually came from that era, because I saw a lot of very successful men with a wife and with kids and with money pouring their heart out to some 20-year-old they never met about how sad they were. I learned a lot about the world, and I know that a lot of suicide was prevented, and I made a lot of women millionaires. But would I do it now? No. However, I'm in a very different situation now. I'm a different person. I'm religious. I'm also extremely financially successful. Please understand, Piers, I come from Marsh Farm, Luton. I came from one of the worst areas inside of the UK. I could have stabbed someone. All of my friends were breaking into cars, breaking into houses. Most of my friends are in jail. What did I do? I promoted accounts on the internet.
You made money.
Didn't sell crack. Didn't sell drugs, didn't rob anyone, didn't shoot anyone, and now, because I am successful, I'm going to be held to this moral standard by people who grew up in fancy homes with white picket fences and went to private schools.
Well, no, actually...
I am from Marsh Farm, Luton, and the biggest crime I committed was completely legally promoting internet profiles.
Right.
There are people around me who did far
Actually, you're only going to be held
for far less.
No, you're only going to be held to the standard of the religion you've converted to, which you've already
said... When you take the Shahada, all your former sins are erased.
Which you've already said would look at that as immoral.
When you take the Shahada, all of your former sins are erased, and I actually encourage you to find the light and convert to Islam.
Andrew Tate, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Wow. Whew. Wow. Damn. See, now I see why Tristan got the energy he did. It makes sense. Andrew is very overbearing. If you let it, well, not even if you let it. I don't even know, like, if you can stop it. The man talks with so much force, passion, speed, and decisiveness that you gotta kind of like, hey, whoa, bro, let me, get in where you fit in. That's very impressive to do. I gotta learn how to talk like that. Yeah, he got me beat on that. Anyways, very good interview. Hope you guys enjoyed it. That was part 2 of Andrew Tate Talks to Piers Morgan. Be on the lookout for our next couple videos. Peace out.